Good afternoon, and welcome to Wednesdays with Woodward. I'm Joan Woodward, president of the Travelers Institute. We're so happy you joined us today. As you may have noticed from the open and from my background, I'm not in my usual Wednesday location. Today, I am thrilled to tell you we are live on site from Travelers' own Claim University in Windsor, Connecticut. And I did say live, so anything could happen here. Claim U, as it's known, is the flagship education hub for travelers. It's where we train thousands of our Claim employees from across the country and the organization on the skills they need to really take care of our customers in their most dire time of need. Today, we're going to get a special behind the scenes sneak peek look at the state-of-the-art facilities here, and it's huge, my friends. Before we get started, however, I'd like to share our disclaimer about today's program. I'd also like to thank our webinar partners today, the Risk and Uncertainty Management Center at the University of South Carolina School of Business, the Insurance Association of Connecticut, the Masters of FinTech program at UConn School of Business, and the Metro Hartford Alliance. Welcome all. I'm thrilled to be joined today by Travelers' own Erica Fleig. Erica is the Vice President of Claim and Learning Effectiveness, where she is responsible for the development and implementation of learning strategies here at Claim U. Erica has been with Travelers over a decade and has had leadership roles both in claim and in risk control. So Erica, thanks for joining us, and we're so excited to learn more about Claim University.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to have you, and congratulations on 15 years with the Travelers Institute.
Yes, it's a birthday we're very happy to celebrate. So this is my third or fourth time maybe at Claim University, but I want you to spend a moment and tell our viewers exactly what is this facility, when was it built, how big is it, what kind of labs are in it? Just give us an overview.
Yeah, let's start with an overview. So this university, Claim University, is really a premier destination for learning for our claim professionals. You know, Travelers is committed and proud of having the best claim workforce in the business. And that means that our claim professionals are knowledgeable, they come with deep technical expertise, they're skilled, they're confident, and they're prepared. And the work we do here at Claim University through our robust learning programs, our robust training curriculum prepares them to be just that.
Wonderful. So how many students come through Claim University in an average year, and what does that person look like? A trainee or a more developed seasoned person? Would they come back for training throughout the year?
Yeah, so yes to all of that. Claim University is a stop that all of our claim professional trainees make as a part of their new employee experience. Trainees in all of our lines, property, auto, workers' comp, and general liability, engage in our robust training curriculum, usually sometime within the first 6 months, working with our instructors here on site. You also asked about refresher training though as well, and the answer to that is also yes. We also support advanced curriculum as claim professionals progress in their careers and handle more and more complex claims.
Let's talk about complex claims, because obviously the knowledge and skills that are needed to assess a claim and decide compensation. Talk to us about those knowledge and skills.
Yeah, so there's a lot to learn in the area of claim. From a technical perspective, first of all, it's really important for our claim professionals to understand policies and endorsements and how those policies and endorsements apply to different loss scenarios. It's important for them to understand what goes into investigating the facts of a loss, and sometimes that involves determining causality. They learn how to evaluate damages and prepare estimates. It's also really important to understand jurisdictional requirements and the regulatory environment, all of which is changing really rapidly in today's environment and has a big impact on the claims that we handle. Technology is also a big part of the claim handling process. Technology is impacting how our customers interact with us. Our claim professionals are using technology throughout the claim process. So learning agility is also a really important skill. How to learn about that technology, adopt it into workflows, really important part of what folks learn here. And then from a skills perspective, there's some overarching skills that are reinforced throughout our training and curriculum. Skills like problem solving, critical thinking, communication, and obviously treating our customers with care and empathy.
And empathy. That's a really big part of the training. I love that about us. We're empathetic and understanding when someone has a crisis in their life. It's a big crisis for
100%.
many people. So
Very, very
thank you. So we learned a lot of thousands of people are coming in. Let's talk about who actually works in this building on a daily basis. Who are these individuals? I know you have different labs. We're going to go through them all. We're going to meet someone soon in the property lab over there as well.
Yeah, so on staff here at ClaimU, we have about 80 people. Our instructors come to the table with years and years of expertise in the industry and handling business insurance and personal insurance claims themselves. They couple that experience with an in-depth knowledge about how adults learn in the workplace to really bring our programs to life. Also on our ClaimU team, we have folks that have a background in instructional design, teaching and learning technology, learning administration and operations. And it really takes all of those disciplines together, Joan, to bring our programs to life, to continuously develop them and create those meaningful learning opportunities for our claim professionals.
Wonderful. So those are the people. Tell us about the physical structure. What is inside Claim University?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned we're a 200,000 square foot facility. Claim University itself opened in 2007. And it was really built as that first of its kind educational and training facility to give our claim professionals that hands-on experience. And what I think is really special and different about Claim University is it's not just a place where people come to acquire all that knowledge that they need to handle claims, to apply that knowledge.
Okay.
And that's really the basis for creating these interactive, engaging, hands-on learning labs. So we have 4 immersive learning labs. You're going to see them today: our heavy equipment lab, our auto lab, our property lab, and our medical lab. We also have connected classrooms adjacent to all those labs. All of our classrooms are equipped with technology that allows us to connect with remote learners, as well as remote faculty that are a part of our programs. And part of the building you're not going to see today is our auditorium. It's our large event venue.
Okay.
It's also equipped with technology to support live and hybrid events. And we use them for large symposiums, large learning events, and even community events.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've been to a few community nonprofit events here. It's wonderful. So that's the what about ClaimU. Let's talk about the why. So why is it important to spend, this is a huge investment of time, of money, of resources, and strategy for the company. Having a world-class claim professionals is kind of our bedrock, right? Why is that so important? And what does it actually do for the insureds, the person who's on the other end of the phone having the bad day?
Yeah, well, I think the answer is even in the question itself there. I mean, Travelers is committed to having claim professionals who can respond, again, with that deep technical expertise, that skill, and that empathy. And everything you see here is a visible example of that investment in getting our claim professionals prepared to do just that. And hopefully that's what our customers feel from us.
Yes. Okay, let's get started, folks. So the first kind of hands-on demo is behind us. So obviously this is our huge, and it's actually really big, CAT van. And it lands in disasters all over the country. And talk to us about what's inside of it, first of all. How fast it can get to locations like wildfires in California, hurricanes in the Southeast, et cetera.
Yeah, so again, this is a CAT van. It's used by our National Catastrophe Response Team, and it's really deployed as a mobile claim center. So areas that are impacted by severe weather events like those you mentioned, we actually position these vans in these mobile claim centers in those areas in advance, so that customers who are impacted by those severe weather events, they can get started on the claim process easily. The vans themselves are equipped with satellite technology, generators, and claim workstations. Again, giving our insureds who are impacted by these events the opportunity to get some of their immediate needs met and get on the road to recovery as quickly as possible. This is one of 4 of our large CAT vans, and when this van is not deployed, it lives here at Claim University.
Wonderful, wonderful. I was a few years ago with our CEO, Alan Schnitzer. We went down to Louisiana to do some building of habitat. And I talked with one of our insureds and she said, when I saw this van rolling in, she's like, tears came down my eyes because I knew I was going to be okay. But I mean, it's a bad day when this van is coming into your neighborhood. So it's thrilling to have such great technology and mobility
Yes.
for
Overwhelming and
It is.
definitely a visible example of that empathy.
Okay, folks, we're going to go over to our heavy equipment lab next and talk about some big, really, really big trucks that had a really, really bad day. So first of all, Erica, tell us about this lab and actually what goes on here.
Yeah. So this is the first of the 4 labs that we'll be visiting today, Joan. This is our heavy equipment and specialty lab. And what you'll find in this lab is a variety of vehicles and pieces of equipment that are involved in common losses experienced by our commercial customers, our business insurance customers, and our construction customers.
Wonderful. So tell us about this truck. It looks like it had a very bad day. What type of crash was this involved in? And why do we have it here in this building? How did we get it? Is it one of our insureds, et cetera?
Yeah, so this is actually one of the newer additions to our heavy equipment lab. I mean, it is a semi-tractor trailer. We see these on the road all the time. This particular vehicle struck ice, ran into a barrier with such force that the trailer actually separated from the cab. And you can see the extent of the damage done because of the nature of that force. But this vehicle is really important to us from a learning perspective, because not only does it give us the chance to give our claim professionals opportunities to practice evaluating and understanding the damage to the vehicle itself, but this vehicle also reflects some of the modern technology over the past few years that it was introduced into these tractor trailers. So things like cruise control, telematics. And I know you were inside the truck earlier.
I did. I got in that.
Right? So there's a bunk bed, there's a closet, there's a fridge. So again, really representative of the types of technologies and features that our claim professionals are likely to encounter.
And what can claim people learn from this? So they have to understand all the different components and whether to declare it a total loss. And that process takes a long time, but learning hands-on, right, is invaluable. So
exactly. And having the live props here in the lab really allows much more than we could do on a flat screen, on photos and images, understanding how these vehicles are constructed, understanding the parts, understanding what needs to happen to potentially bring them back to manufacturer specifications, and then what is really a total loss.
Okay, now we're going to move over to a huge box truck, which is adjacent to us here. So let's walk down this way. So, and what is about this box truck? Tell us about it, first of all. What can students learn about this box truck here? I see it is non-refrigerated, right?
Yep, this is a non-refrigerated dry box truck. It's 26 feet long. This is another one of those vehicles that was a great new addition to the lab. And the reason why this is so important for us is because this is a really common, you probably see these on the road all the time. These box trucks. So again, great vehicle to have to the lab. This particular vehicle was actually stolen and recovered. So there's some damage on this vehicle on the side. You probably can't see it from the angle that we're looking at here, but this is a great opportunity to practice the repairability decisions using some of the damage that's on this vehicle. It represents about 60% of the commercial vehicle claims that we see. So again,
this type of truck does 60%. This is a very, very common occurrence.
Very common vehicle. And this particular vehicle also has a hydraulic lift gate in the back.
In the back.
Again, so we have the opportunity to simulate a variety of different loss scenarios with this, mock it up, and allow our learners opportunity to practice assessing damage and making those repair versus replace decisions.
Okay, and just like with the 18-wheeler, this box truck, so how do you decide, what's the process for deciding what we need in this lab for students to really gain that knowledge and experience?
Yeah, so our instructors here at Claim University really develop a wish list, to be honest with you, working with their business, understanding loss trends, and really staying current with what types of vehicles are being used on the road. When we decide what type of vehicle would be a great addition to the lab, we work with our partners to find out where we're experiencing those losses. And when we can find them, we have a team that actually transports them here, cleans them up, and gets them ready for learning here in the lab.
What struck me the most is how clean they are. Like, honestly, if they've been through crashes and I'm sure mud and snow and other things, they're just, they're sparkling clean, which to me, that's just another high quality excellence that Travelers strives for. Okay, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a little bit like curating pieces for a museum.
Okay.
This is an interactive learning material.
Little art that's a little damaged.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to these big, huge yellow things. Notice this one here has some graffiti. What are we looking at here? We got 3 of them.
Yep. So we are now in the back part of the heavy equipment lab here. This is where we have our construction equipment. Are you up on your construction equipment, Joan?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Ask me.
So when our construction customers experience losses to this type of equipment, think theft, think damage, it can have a real impact on their operations. So from a learning perspective, it's really important that our claim professionals understand how to evaluate this damage. Can it be repaired or replaced so that we can get those customers back up in business as quickly as possible? So we're standing in front of the excavator here. You can see some graffiti damage on it. This particular vehicle was actually stolen and recovered.
Okay.
When it was recovered, it had graffiti on it. So
is that a occurrence that happens a lot, that these things are stolen? It seems like it would take a lot to steal this thing.
Yeah, believe it or not, theft of commercial equipment is not all that uncommon. Yeah. So again, this is a great example for our claim professionals to learn on.
Okay.
Let's move over to the bulldozer.
Okay.
And Joan, I'm going to actually ask you a question on this one. You can't see any visible damage.
No,
it looks. To guess why this vehicle was a total loss, and I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with the blue line on the vehicle.
Blue line. Okay, there's the blue line. I see. I'm going to guess that probably below the blue line, which has probably the most important parts of the whole thing versus just the cab, had some sort of damage for a total loss.
You're right. So this was actually a loss due to a flood.
Oh, a flood.
Below the blue line. This particular vehicle was submerged in salt water.
Oh, salt water.
Salt water caused some corrosion to the hydraulic system, making it a total
And
loss.
does regular water cause as much damage as salt water, or salt water is worse?
Salt water can cause that type of damage to this particular vehicle.
Okay. And this was also, so this is a flood, this is a stolen. What about our third one over there?
The last one over here was also a stolen vehicle. The interesting thing about this vehicle, the backhoe at the end, was that it was stolen and recovered 10 years later.
10 years.
Pulled over as a result of a routine traffic accident. And when the arresting officer or the officer who pulled the vehicle over ran the VIN, it was identified as a stolen vehicle, paid out by Travelers 10 years prior, and now it lives here at the lab.
Wow. So some guy had it on the back of his flatbed, going to a job, had no idea it was stolen.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So that was our heavy equipment area. Folks, we're going to head over to the auto lab next. And while we're walking / running, if you know me well, I'm an athlete, but I'm a golfer. So some people say that's not really an athlete. We're going to run over to the auto lab and we'll see you in a few minutes. Watch this video.
Welcome to the Claim University Auto Lab. This is where we provide our claim professionals with hands-on understanding of vehicles, mechanical systems, and repair techniques. We train them on specialized equipment and technology, as well as various scenarios associated with auto physical damage. A lot has changed with vehicles over the years, so we're constantly keeping our lab up to date. For example, you might not think this particular vehicle was a total loss, but with all the embedded sensor technology in the bumper, even minor crashes can make repairs more expensive. Take another example. We use this cutaway view of a hybrid vehicle to help claim professionals understand how the specialized engine components, including the battery, charging, and electrical systems, come together. This auto body frame machine uses lasers and computerized measuring to determine if an alignment of a vehicle's frame has been compromised during an accident. This data is critical to the repair process, as a few degrees of alignment can make the difference between a repair or total loss determination. This exhibit shows different types of auto paint. This is important because paint varies widely in cost. It can be a big driver in repair cost estimates, so it's important to get it right. Over here, you see a working model of a car engine and drivetrain. You can even shift gears in the transmission. We want our claim professionals to understand how to take a car apart and put it back together again, so they're working from a place of knowledge when they work with body shops on estimates and repairs. And of course, cars are getting smarter too. We're partnering with industry to develop telematics and vehicle data solutions that can not only help drivers stay safer, but help us understand accident causation and liability determination as well. Vehicle and repair technology continue to change, and we continue to invest in having the latest in our lab so our claim professionals stay abreast of changing technology.
Welcome to the Auto Lab, Joan.
Well, thank you. It's really amazing to be here. Look at all these cars. Wow. So thank you for that video, first of all. It was really informative and I think helped with the transition here. But tell us about the Auto Lab.
Yeah, so this is the second lab on our tour today.
Okay.
We're now in the Auto Lab. If you look around here, you'll see we have a variety of different makes and models of vehicles, around 20 give or take at any given time. And the vehicles in this lab, just like the heavy equipment lab, have different types of damage. So you'll see vehicles that were involved in front end collisions, rear end collisions, side impact collisions. You'll see vehicles that have suffered damage from flood, just like we talked about in the Auto Lab or in the heavy equipment lab. Vehicles that have damage to exterior components, interior components, engines, mechanical systems. So again, a really nice buffet of vehicles for our claim professionals to practice on.
Okay. So in that buffet, we also have kind of custom built props that you're building props so people can get hands-on expertise and learning. Tell us about those props.
Exactly. And I think that's a really great feature of all of our labs are the fact that we do have these custom made detailed mock-ups that truly allow our claim professionals to peek underneath the hood and get a close look at the systems, the engine systems, the mechanical systems, the electrical systems. It's important to learn how they work, how they can be damaged, what impact that damage has on the performance of the vehicle, and most importantly, whether or not it can be replaced, what it's going to take to repair them up to manufacturer specifications.
Okay. I noticed this. This is kind of one of my favorite things I saw so far, which is a very, very colorful car, well, shell of a car. It's not really a car. It's just the outside skeleton. So what is this and why so many colors?
This is my favorite prop in the
Okay.
too, probably because of the colors, but this is actually affectionately known as the rotisserie car. And I'll tell you and show you why it's named the rotisserie car. But it's actually used to help our claim professionals learn about unibody vehicle construction. So unibody vehicle construction is actually the standard for most modern passenger cars and SUVs on the road today. And this kind of construction is designed to disperse the impact of the collision across the entire structure of the car, which is really important for safety reasons. From a learning perspective, this prop helps our learning professionals understand that the damage to this type of vehicle construction can extend further than the point of impact. So that makes it a really important learning prop for our claim professionals.
All right. And it tilts?
I mentioned.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
And
someone had fun painting this.
because we can spin it, allowing everybody to
See the different components, the different parts.
in 360 degrees.
Wonderful.
And then let's talk a little bit about the colors because you mentioned the colors before. So the colors represent different paint and finishing techniques. And paint and finishing techniques can vary widely in cost and quality. So it's really important for our claim professionals to understand those differences and how they may impact the cost to repair a vehicle.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. That was fun. Now we're going to move over here. And I think I know what this is, which I think is a hybrid engine. It looks very different, folks, than a regular combustion engine. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is an example of one of the many props that we mentioned, those cutaway props. This is, as you mentioned, a hybrid engine. One of the things I'll talk about before we get to the engine itself is the fact that all of our props are on wheels. Notice that they're on wheels. We can move them easily throughout the labs. We can wheel them in and out of classrooms. But again, this is just one example of allowing our claim professionals to learn by being able to peek underneath the hood. And in this case, see how the drivetrain in a hybrid engine supplies power to the wheels, understand how that works. And again, how it can be damaged in different kinds of loss scenarios and what it takes to replace an engine.
All right, so obviously, just like we see here with hybrids and EVs, things are changing constantly and very rapidly. How often are we refreshing our inventory to make sure we're up to speed on the latest technologies?
Yeah, so
and damage scenarios, because the damage scenarios with these different kind of cars and autos are very different, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I mentioned we have, give or take at any point in time, about 20 vehicles in the lab here. And we're constantly looking to refresh that inventory, really based on how technology and features in the vehicles themselves are evolving. You know, technology in vehicles is evolving at a very rapid pace, advanced electronics, even interior features, not to mention engines. So every year we take a look at our inventory. We make that wish list, decide what we need, again, working really closely with our partners in claim, and then work to locate those vehicles, bring them in here, clean them up. And in some cases, Joan, we might not get exactly the damage that we want. So we enhance the damage on some of those vehicles to make them good for learning.
Enhancing damage on vehicles. That sounds like a fun job. Can you make this vehicle less perfect? Okay, so we're going to head over and look at some, I think, EVs and hybrids. So tell us about these claim professionals learning about EVs and hybrids. This is a EV, I think.
Yeah. So just in general, too, it's really important, again, to keep this inventory fresh to reflect the types of vehicles we see on the road. Obviously, we're seeing more and more hybrid and EV vehicles on the road. So these are two of our newer additions to the auto lab here. Bringing these vehicles into the lab here allows our claim professionals to learn things like how the battery integration systems work. And again, sometimes those the damage to the vehicles and damage to the battery systems themselves, those are really important from a repair and replace decision perspective.
Yeah, very different than a combustion.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is an EV. What happened here? I could see some really nasty damage to this. And this was a total loss as well?
Yeah, so this is an all-electric vehicle. Again, it came to the lab late last year. And again, this vehicle struck a curb, taking a right-hand turn, really, really simple kind of accident. But again, great vehicle to understand how damage like this might have caused damage to the interior, to the battery component as well. I mentioned features and technology in cars, also giving us great learning opportunities. It's hard to believe that this vehicle actually has a third row seat in it.
It does.
Which is an option. So again, another great vehicle to add to the lab.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, hybrid. So is this plug-in, non-plug-in? Does it matter from a claim loss perspective?
Yeah, so this is a hybrid plug-in vehicle. This is a 2023 model year. There's some damage to the front end of this vehicle.
Okay.
It was actually involved in a collision in an intersection. In addition to the nature of it being a plug-in hybrid vehicle and the learning that comes along with that, this vehicle actually has headlights that use some advanced technology to adjust. You probably see.
Oh, when you turn your steering wheel, they turn.
Exactly. They adjust in direction and intensity based on
Okay.
the driving conditions. And so when these are damaged, that's obviously an implication from a cost perspective. So again, a great opportunity for learning. One other thing I'll mention that I didn't mention when we were talking about rotating inventory. One of the things that we're able to do when we rotate vehicles out of the inventory is take photos, take digital images, 3D digital images of those vehicles, and we can turn those into digital learning assets now.
Okay.
That go into our libraries, our practice activities that are built into our on-demand and digital learning experiences.
So repurpose and try to get the learnings out digitally as well as hands-on.
Exactly.
So our claim professionals, seems to me, with all this learning, come away with a tremendous amount of understanding of the new technologies, assessing damage, claim, and then taking care of our insureds. And so go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see just by walking through the lab here, the exposure that our claim professionals get, not only to different types of vehicles, learning how they work, how they operate, how different types of damage can impact different parts of the vehicles, and how all that comes together to help them develop the skills they need to understand that damage, create those estimates, make those really important repair and replace decisions, and work with our customers to get them.
Wonderful. And I know we have a partnership with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety where they crash test cars. And if you haven't seen it, folks, on the line here, we did a live behind the scenes look at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. We crashed a car a vehicle there. And that was another Wednesdays if you haven't seen the IIHS. And we love that partnership. It's an
I saw
excellent
that.
one.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So folks, we are going to take another walk clear across the 200,000 square building here and go to the property lab. And as you know, the property lab is just as it sounds. We're going to look at houses, commercial buildings, roofing products, everything that goes into a property claim. And so watch a short video and we'll see you on the other side.
This is a smart home, so this one, that actually saves.
Welcome to the Claim University Property Lab. The first thing you notice when you enter the lab is our 2 fully functioning, freestanding homes, along with several smaller mock-ups, including a solar panel array, roofing and framing mock-ups, and plumbing and electrical systems. We also have fire damage structures, where claim professionals practice determining cause and origin and learn what can be cleaned versus what needs to be repaired or replaced. These buildings and mock-ups allow our claim professionals to practice writing estimates and use estimating software for some of the most common damage situations, like roof or siding damage, water damage, and content replacement. We also do a lot of role-playing scenarios, which allow our students to practice as if they were actually at our customer's home. These skills are especially important when interacting with customers who may have suffered a devastating loss due to a natural disaster like a hurricane or tornado. Let's first take a look at our ranch home. It's about 1,200 square feet, built on a slab using fairly simple construction, and the rooms are more or less square, making it easy to measure, perfect for new claim professionals just learning the job. We also outfitted this home with several do-it-yourself connected home automation devices, wireless security cameras, connected thermostats, smoke detectors, and CO2 alarms, as well as water and moisture sensors and smart garage door openers. Now we'll move over to our tri-level home. In addition to being larger, it has higher-end building materials, and its rooms are more complex in shape, cathedral ceilings, and angled walls, which make them more challenging to measure. This home also has smart technology. We're testing these devices to learn if they can keep customers safer, prevent losses, and help us underwrite and estimate claims more precisely. This is also where we train our drone pilots to assess losses in the field. Drones help us safely inspect hard-to-access areas, eliminating the need for specialized roof contractors.
We have a tree limb.
As building technology continues to evolve, we want to ensure our claim professionals have up-to-date knowledge and skills and the best tools to estimate losses quickly and accurately, either in person or virtually.
All right, so folks, joining me now, first of all, we're in the property lab, and so we're going to go through different stations and look at lots of different things, but Lamel Williams, a highly respected and seasoned trainer here in the property lab, joins me today. So Lamel, tell me about your day. What do you do on a daily basis? And tell me about the lab here.
Well, first and foremost, Joan, let me say thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here with you. So a little bit about what I do. Well, I work on a team that focuses primarily on developing activities and programs for our claim professionals. What that allows them to do is make sure they have the knowledge and the skill set to interpret policy language, evaluate and estimate property damage, and most importantly, help our customers through the claim process. Now, I'm just one of several instructors that have the opportunity to bring these programs and activities to life, whether I'm delivering live here in a building at Claim University or delivering virtual instruction.
Okay, great. All right, so it looks like to be a garage, or it used to be a garage. Tell us about this structure and how is it used to instruct students, more importantly?
Absolutely. So this is really cool because we had an opportunity to partner up with a local fire department to create this damage. And what this allows our claim professionals to do is scope and estimate smoke and fire damage. They get to make those important repair versus replace decisions due to the structural integrity of the building material that's left behind. Also important for them is to understand the relationship that we have with our internal investigative department that actually helps us determine the cause and the origin of the fire itself.
Wow, okay, interesting. So we actually burn that?
We actually burnt in a controlled environment.
Controlled environment.
We actually did burn it.
Okay.
So this is real fire and smoke damage, and they get to make those decisions.
Okay, excellent. Now I want to talk about roofing.
Okay.
So a lot of us mere mortals don't understand roofing products and what type of roofing products make a difference in different Southwest California, the different regions of the country. So I want to walk through each of these and tell us what we're looking at.
Absolutely. So as you see, sometimes we have structures like that. We also have throughout the lab what we call A-frame mock-ups. And what this allows us to do is to share with our claim professionals some of the most common roof surfaces that they're going to encounter when they're in the field. So for example, this is our very common asphalt shingles. Here we call this 3-tab shingles, very common, like we said, out in the field. But not only do they get to see the roof surface material itself, they get to see what could possibly go under it. Depending where I live, is it a little thicker? Do I need that? What goes around the roof? The actual construction and how we build this up. Up top, we have ridge cap shingles. How are they installed? Those things make a difference. So again, we have our 3 tabs here. We also have, which you may see quite often, our laminated shingles. So these are very common in most areas that you'll see these, but these are just a few of the samples that we have. We also can teach the things like slate roof. Right behind you, Joan, you'll notice that we even have some metal roofing there.
Okay.
We can also see, hey, what type of decking is that built on? Really just helping them with that building material identification. As they advance in their career, claim reps also get to come back and we teach them about low slope roofing material, commonly found in commercial applications.
Okay.
So again, just a few of the many props that we have throughout the lab here.
You know, we, a few months ago, were at the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, BHS, and we actually shot a hail cannon into one of the roofs and assessed the damage.
Yes.
And I think some of the partnerships we have outside of just Travelers really enhance what we're doing here at ClaimU. So it's actually pretty fun when I shot the hail thing. You have to do it someday.
I look forward to it.
Okay. So we're going to move to another building here, and this is flood damage. And I want to spend a little time here because there's a lot of flooding out there. It's very important to understand what we're looking at here. So Lamel, tell us what we're looking at. I'll get out of the way.
So actually we'll stand here for a second. I'm going to tell you, Joan, a word that I'm going to use pretty often from here forward is cutaway. Okay, because that's, we use it all the time just to show the components that go into actually constructing. So we affectionately call this structure here our flood house because we at one point in time actually did flood this house. And with this cutaway here, it allowed us to see when that water was running for a long time, the water actually penetrated through the floor, through the subfloor, into the crawl space and created a good amount of damage. Now, this damage signifies what you will commonly see from household appliances, internal plumbing structures or systems, and things of such. What it allows our claim professionals to do as they're walking through this house here is they actually get to prepare estimates for water mitigation. They get to make those repair versus replace decisions again. Do I keep the carpet, dry it in place, or now do I have to remove and replace that carpet? And very importantly, it also helps them understand how to prevent further water damage. So an important structure there that we have.
We had a flooded basement, our hot water heater burst.
Yes.
We didn't know it for a little while. And so that was a nightmare. Right.
And unfortunately, that's how it sometimes happens where it's unforeseen, you're not there and it goes for a while, but we understand how we can mitigate those damages.
Yeah, we had a sensor, so that set us off.
Awesome.
Sensor. Yeah.
We'll talk about some of that stuff coming up soon.
Excellent. Okay, so now I know we're moving into different homes, fully functional homes, different though.
Yep.
We have a ranch over here, and then we have it looks like a bi-level, a split level. What is this? Explain what we're looking at.
So first off, you absolutely nailed it. They are fully functional, meaning that everything inside of these homes work. Okay, so let's start here with our split level, or as we call it, our tri-level. We do have a basement. We do have an upstairs bedroom. And this house here is approximately 1,500 square feet. It's a little bit more complex in design.
Okay.
You mentioned you have a sensor. We have professionally installed smart home devices in there, including a water sensor.
Okay.
Solar panels on the roof.
Uh-huh.
Our rooms, like I said, complex finishes, bump outs. We have peak ceilings, tray ceilings. So just a little bit more complex and more modern appliances. Now, in comparison, we can take a step over here. We also do have our ranch. So this is kind of like your starter beginner home. It's a one-story ranch home built on a concrete slab. It does have an attached garage on it, and just more basic and simple in design, not as modern by way of appliances. The smart home devices are kind of do-it-yourself. The rooms are more square, the ceilings are flat. So again, just a little bit more simple in design.
And what do students learn? First of all, I love the flowers, that we put shrubbery and flowers around that. And I'm sure there's lots of teachings about wildflowers as well here. But what are students learning in these homes? I mean, are we simulating any kind of water damage or fire damage? I know there's sensors. So tell us about when students come here. What do they do?
You nailed it. So basically, we can simulate just about anything in these two homes, whether we're talking fire damage, water damage, wind damage, or even theft claims. And the really cool thing is that when they're in these homes, and I'm going to use that word again, we have cutaways. So they really get to see the construction of this material. And I'll give you an example. So in this split level home, there's a cutaway of the chimney. So if they're writing an estimate for that chimney, they get to see behind it, look into the flue. How's that thing really made? The ranch, we have the same principle in our bathroom. We have a cutaway of the drywall so they can see the plumbing system that actually feeds the shower. And last but not least, just about any flooring material that you step on in any of these houses, we have a cutaway that shows what's the subfloor under there? How is this thing put together so that when they're scoping and estimating these damages, they become really confident and comfortable with those building materials.
So you mentioned plumbing, you mentioned electrical, HVAC. So I'm sure we have, or tell us about this, those specialties and experts in electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and teaching students how to assess a damage, right?
Well, you know what? I'm giving you a personal invitation right now to come see one of our residential mechanical classes, because that's exactly what we teach in those classes. So I talked a lot about the interior of these homes, but on the exterior of these homes, as claim reps actually advance in their career, they come back for a more advanced class like residential mechanical, where we have damage to condenser units out there. They have to make those repair versus replace decisions again. Hey, is that condenser unit compatible with the air handler unit that's on the inside? We have simulated overhead meter masts that bring the electrical into the house.
Okay.
They actually get to trace the wires from the circuit boxes to the outlet switches, and again, prepare those scopes and estimates for even that type of damage.
Okay, so when is that class? What'd you call it? Mechanical?
Residential
Not
mechanical.
I don't know if I'm that smart. I think like
You will be after you
101.
come. We'll have you certified and ready to go.
Okay, this is really fascinating. Anything else in this side of the house before we move on to commercial?
Yeah, so the last thing that I'll add is attached to this property lab, we have 3 classrooms. At least 2 of them have overhead garage doors. This is where we do our facilitation and instruction. And what those garage doors allow us to do is to roll mock-ups and props in and out of the classroom. So as we're teaching and instructing, we actually have the opportunity to point and show the material that we're talking about. And then once we're finished with that instruction, the claim reps actually get to come out here into the lab and put that to application.
Excellent. Fascinating. Mel, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. And you're such a good teacher. And there's a smile on his face the whole time. I love that.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right. All right. Next, folks, we're going to move over to the commercial building. We have Erica joining us again.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay, good, because I learned a lot in the first session. So this commercial building, what is it used for, and how is this is now a business insurance claim. So we switched from personal insurance and houses. Now we're on the business insurance side, which we have a lot of business in commercial building. Tell us the difference between a residential and a commercial.
Yeah, so this building in back of us here it's a medical lab, so it represents a commercial building. So all of those skills and exercises that Lamel just talked about that apply to residential construction, this is a chance for our claim professionals to practice those same skills only on a commercial building. You'll see here, there's actually some damage on the exterior of the building, simulating probably a place where a vehicle may have hit the building. This building features those same cutaways that Lamel talked about, but commercial construction obviously differs in many ways from residential construction. So the cutaways allow our claim professionals to learn about the materials used in commercial construction. There's even a commercial heating and cooling system up on the roof, again, giving our claim professionals a great opportunity to practice those same skills only with commercial building.
Okay, so we're in business insurance, we're in commercial building. Let's go inside or near outside, inside. And I'm going to talk about, you mentioned it's a medical, it's a learning lab. It has a medical twist to it. Tell us about that.
So this is the fourth lab.
Okay.
We visited heavy equipment, we visited auto. We're in the property lab. This is actually a lab within the lab.
Okay.
From the outside, this is the commercial building that's part of the property lab. On the inside, it's actually our medical lab.
Okay.
And this lab is used in the training and continuous development of our claim professionals who handle injury claims and the nurses who support them in the management of those claims.
So
actually, let me go a little bit further there.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so medical costs are obviously a significant portion of the total claim expense where injuries may be involved in our workers' compensation line, auto liability, general liability. So it's really important that the folks that are managing those claims, our claim professionals who handle those injury claims, have the skills and the knowledge they need to understand those injuries, understand causality, understand the treatment plans that are associated with those claims as a part of the overall claim process. And our robust medical curriculum helps them do just that.
okay, so not only are we in business insurance and commercial property, now we're inside and we're talking about workers' comp. And we have hundreds of nurses, right, working on medical case every year. Medical inflation has also been an issue. So we have medical doctors, we have a chief medical advisor here as well. So understanding what's actually in there, and tell us about the touch screens and some of the learning, the technology, which of course in healthcare and technology, that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that you asked about the technology in this lab because we actually recently made some upgrades to this lab, specifically with the technology that you see in there. All of the monitors that you see in here are actually touchscreen monitors. So think of them, Joan, like learning stations or learning kiosks. This now actually creates a entirely collaborative, digital, interactive space for our claim professionals who handle those injury claims. We lean into creating activities that allow them to explore injuries using 3D models of different parts of the anatomy so they can explore how those injuries happen, explore causality, and explore treatment plans. And again, this is just an example of the investment in technology and how technology can aid the learning process. If you would permit me to go a little bit further about technology, I'd like to talk a little bit more about technology overall in learning. Earlier in our discussion, we talked about how technology is a bigger and bigger part of the claim process. Technology is also a big part of the learning process. We can do things with technology that we can't do in a physical space. And think about injuries. Injuries may last weeks, months, or even longer.
Yeah.
And so the decisions to manage claims that involve those injuries may take time to play out. We can simulate that and accelerate that with our use of technology. Technology allows us to create libraries of digital practice activities that folks can engage in here, but they can also engage in those activities on the job in our on-demand learning resources. Technology allows them to get feedback, immediate feedback on their progress, what they're learning, what they need to work on. So Travelers Claim University, real big believer in how technology can aid the learning process, and we make those investments to make that happen.
Wonderful. Now, what are we standing here? Why is this here?
Yeah, well, I mentioned this is a commercial
Okay.
building, and this is an example of a barrier. Imagine nose-in parking to actually prevent the type of damage you see over here to keep vehicles from rolling into the front of the building.
Excellent.
It's actually
excellent.
a safety feature.
All right. So I have a lot of agents and brokers that join our webinars each Wednesday, and we've seen 4 different stations here at ClaimU. What are the top takeaways for our agent and broker community that you've told us about? You want to make sure they've heard loud and clear.
Yeah, so I think, and I've said it many times as we've been going throughout the facility today, Travelers is really committed to making sure that we have the best claim workforce in the business, that they have the knowledge and the skills that they need to be there when our customers need us. I think everything that you saw here in the building has been true for 18 years. We opened in 2007, and that same mission holds true to make sure that whether you're new to the industry and new to handling claims, that you actually have all of the resources, all of the support you need to become really confident, knowledgeable, have that deep technical expertise, and have that skill. When you take that and you couple it with Travelers' strong business processes, our technical capabilities, and our culture, you really have all the ingredients to deliver on that promise. I'm really proud to be a part of this facility and a part of this mission to develop just the best claim workforce in the world.
Yeah, and I saw a bunch of students walking around. Actually, there's 3 different groups up here this week for training. So you bring them back. I love it, the fact, and Lamel also said, we have kind of the basics claim 101, and we continue to bring people back. Are this just Hartford-based employees? Or are these throughout the?
From all over the country. You also host some of our claim professionals that are working in our international locations. And I should also mention, Joan, that we hear over and over again how valuable our claim employees feel their time at ClaimU is, the skills that they walk away with, the confidence that they walk away with. They're really prepared to continue learning when they go on the job. And we've also heard that same feedback from our distribution partners, that this investment in our claim professionals, it's really evident in the marketplace.
Yeah. It is cutting edge. I've heard that. I was walking around today and there was a student here. She's only been with the company 6 months remotely. She's not in the Hartford office, and they've sent her up here 3 different times for 3. She was very grateful that someone invested in her as a young woman, right? For this kind of, this is an investment in our people. It's very exciting. Okay, so I'm going to move on. We have some audience questions, if that's okay. We'll take a few audience questions. They submit them when they register. So by the way, when you register for a webinar, submit your questions, and then also we take them live. So in the chat, the Q&A section, not the chat, the Q&A section. We have a bunch of questions, and I hope, just say pass.
I'll do my best.
Okay. First one coming in from Alan the Man of Wells Media Group in Washington, the state of Washington. What is the most important thing claims professionals learn at Claim University?
That's a hard question because there are a lot of really important things that they learn. So I'll even bubble it up a little higher.
Okay.
I think the most important thing that folks learn when they come and experience any part of our curriculum is that continuous learning is important, and they learn how to learn, right? Learning just doesn't happen in the constraints of a classroom or a training program. That's where we concentrate that. But we also give them the skills to learn on the job, develop that curiosity. And I think they also learned that they have a tremendous support system here at Travelers. I think our workforce overall in claim is one of the most generous out there in terms of sharing their knowledge and their expertise. So I think that's a really important thing that they learn, in addition to all those technical and professional skills that are a part of the curriculum.
Great. Okay, another question. Kristen O'Leary of JM Wilson asked, I would love to hear about your processes around upskilling and how you assess the quality of the training provided.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we talk about upskilling a lot.
What is upskilling?
Upskilling is about developing new skills as the work changes. As the work changes, you want to make sure that your skills are changing with the work. And so we mentioned, again, a couple times today, how things like technology and even changing customer expectations are changing the role, are changing the work. So part of the work that we do at Claim University is to partner really closely with our business partners to understand how the work is changing and what is the impact of those changes on the skills people need. We then go back to our programs and our curriculum to make sure that they're indexing on those skills in the right way. We're building the right practice opportunities in there. I also want to mention data. Data is really important input signal for us to make sure that what we're doing is effective. We have a number of different means of tapping into data about what learners are learning, maybe what they're struggling with, what kind of progress they're making towards those learning objectives. And that data allows us to intervene in the moment and make adjustments, as well as continue to improve and refine our programs at a macro level.
Okay, great. Another question from an agent, Cheryl Stribe of Global Credit Union Insurance Brokers in Washington State. How long is the claim training program? And can agents visit Claim University? I get that a lot. Can agents come up here and visit? First of all, that's why we're doing this webinar today, so you can get an inside look behind your computers. You don't have to come up here, but can they come up? And then how long is the typical training for property appraisal or auto or commercial building? What would you say?
Yeah, so I'll answer both of those questions separately. So I'd actually encourage everybody to think about not a program, but a journey, because it's
Okay.
really about the journey. And depending upon the role that you are in, whether or not you're a trainee or you're advancing in your career, the length of those programs can differ. But on average, anywhere from 2 months to 6 months, you could be engaged in a formal part of your training curriculum if you're coming in as a trainee. And again, you got to see all the great opportunities our trainees get as a part of that. And in terms of visiting Claim University, we love to share our capabilities, not just in Claim U, but in the Claim organization overall with our distribution partners. So I would say if you want to learn more, reach out to your Travelers representative.
Okay,
Make that happen.
good. All right. Another question here. I think it might be our last question. From Bruce Lant at AAA Northway Insurance Agency in New York asked, what job postings should a student that is interested in a career in claims keep an eye out for?
Well, we all know that a great career at Travelers have started in claim. So claim trainee roles are a great place to start, whether it be auto, property, general liability, or workers' compensation. You saw what our trainees get to experience in terms of learning about our business, learning about our customers, and really learning some solid skills that will be valuable throughout their careers. So to answer that question more directly, if you're interested in a career in claims, I would say go to the travelers.com website, the career section, and search for trainee roles in claim.
And if you train, say, in property and you do that for 2 or 3 years and you want to move to auto or commercial buildings, that's easy, right?
It's actually very easy.
Okay.
And it's very common. And again, we talked about skills. Those skills that are important for our claim professionals are so transferable across our lines of business.
I did hear from several people. I didn't start in claim, but I heard it is a great place to start because you get an overview of the whole company.
And you get to work with our customers.
Right. And fun people like you.
And people like us. And wasn't Lamel great?
Lamel's great. Lamel is great. That smile's still on his face over there. So look, this has been amazing. The hour has just flown by. Thank you for your hospitality, for having us here today. You're fantastic and your team's fantastic to work with. There's a lot of people behind these cameras, folks. This doesn't just happen overnight. So I want to thank my whole team and everyone for joining us, and let you know also, we're going to come back here. We're going to talk about the CAT Center, the Catastrophe Center, and that is just a wall of videos and huge screen TVs monitoring every movement of the weather and satellite, et cetera. So we'll be back looking at claim. The CAT Center will be the forensics lab, lots of other things too throughout the year. So watch your inboxes for that. Thank you.
We'll look forward to having you back. Thanks so
Absolutely.
much. It's been a pleasure.
All right. So don't forget to take our survey about today's program. We read every single word. So let us know what you thought and what else you'd like to see. I like to read those. You should do this differently, Joan, or this might be an interesting speaker for one of your shows. So we also have an amazing lineup for you coming up. So on your screen, you'll see on March 12th, as part of Women's History Month, something I'm terribly interested in, my friend and former Capitol Hill colleague, Laura Cox Kaplan, she has a fabulous podcast called She Said, She Said. I said that correctly. She's interviewed hundreds of women from the C-suite to politics to nonprofits. And what she talks a lot about is influencing, having influencing even when you don't have the title, knowing how to negotiate even when you don't have authority to negotiate. So she's learned throughout talking to all of these people on her podcast some tricks of the trade, and I always like to shortcut things to be a more engaged employee and a more engaged manager. So watch that one. Also, another thing I care a lot about, on March 19th, I'm going to be joined by Dr. Matthew Walker, who wrote a book about sleeping. And so we spend about a third of our lives sleeping, folks. We're going to look at the implications for getting a good night's sleep. And this can be hard, especially as you get older. Your health, your immune system, your brain. We're going to learn a lot more about techniques to get you a better night's sleep. Lastly, on our agenda over the next month, a very, very special live stream we're going to do from the New York Stock Exchange. So we are celebrating our 15th anniversary at the Travelers Institute. And on April the 7th, we're going to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange to commemorate that anniversary. It is an honor of my lifetime to ring an opening bell at the Stock Exchange. And we're going to live stream our program. And our program is going to be based on our new platform at the Travelers Institute. It's called Forces at Work. And what that means for us, actually, we talked about it today, workers' compensation, mental well-being, bringing your whole self to work. And understanding as managers, there's a lot of challenges in the workplace today for our young people, for people of all ages. And so we're going to talk about the forces of work, what's happening outside of our four walls of our businesses, and how to have strategies to really help you with your workforce. So there's a labor shortage out there, we all know, in the macroeconomic environment, and we want to be able to give you tools and tips to help your employees stay well mentally and physically. So join us on April 7th for that very, very special webinar. I'm going to be joined by the former Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, as well as other leading experts. So if you're a podcast person, you probably know we have a podcast. It's called the Travelers Institute Risk and Resilience Podcast. So as you're gardening, skiing, golfing, just driving down the road, tune us on Apple or Spotify. Thank you again to Erica and Lamel and everyone here at ClaimU. It's been an amazing experience. Take care, my friends. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in a few weeks.